Well, welcome to the sunny town of Bolton. Nice and sunny, but a very bracing day, so let's see what excitement we can find. As you can see, it's 10 to 12, and this is Newport Street, the pedestrianised entry to the lovely town. Not exactly madly busy, but that's one of the problems, I suppose, with some of the outlying towns of Greater Manchester that are shadowed by the actual city. You're welcomed to Bolton with, of course, the perfunctory gambling dens. Plenty of those around, and we'll see more as we go along. In fact, as we look on the opposite side, there's a Paddy Power waiting to take our money from us. But it's not the only one, because we'll see some more as we wander down the street. And lo, yes, another gambling den on this main thoroughfare. And that one, of course, is opposite Betfred. Yet another gambling den. But never fear, next to the all-important cash generator on this very same street, yes, yet another gambling den. Now, in my introduction, you may think I'm being a little unfair to the wonderful township of Bolton, but worry not, we have some wonderful delights. Wait until you see the main town centre. Hang on. Now, appreciating it's nearly lunchtime and the town centre is fairly deserted, are you ready for this, folks? Now, how's that for some magnificent architecture? That's the main town hall. I told you, it's not all bad in Bolton, you know. A lovely statue there of Mr. Chadwick. He was very well known for being Mr. Chadwick. Now, wandering down by the side of the town hall, and you can see wonderful architecture, and we're at the library and museum, which is a fabulous building. We'll go into that a little bit later and have a look at some of the exhibits inside, but meanwhile, let's concentrate on the architecture outside. As you can see, swinging down from outside the museum, we've got this incredible sweep of buildings. There's the well-known Octagon Theatre, where a star is born, namely Peter Kay. But as we sweep back towards the back of the town hall, there we can see the main entrance at the back. Misses. Fantastic architecture everywhere you look. And this wonderful archway we're just going to approach now. If you bear with me, I'm new at this lark. Just absolutely incredible, if I might say. Sorry if I'm using the word absolutely incredible and fabulous all the time, but it really is when someone appreciates architecture. Yes, Cheadle Square. Well, they may as well big it up after a nice town in Cheshire, I suppose. But again, far better architecture, I think, than Cheadle. I may be wrong. I stand to be corrected. Or in fact almost even fall down to be corrected. They're busy doing a little bit of work here, and they're building a little bit of a square thing here with, as His Majesty King Charles would say, the carbuncle that is the law courts for Bolton, throwing a lovely architectural shadow over the town. I may say it's almost prison-esque, but there's a really ethereal sweep to the back of the library and museum. Let's now nip into the museum and library. Yes, there's a museum here. Absolutely fabulous. Let's go inside and see what wonderful delights we can see. Let's head upstairs to the art gallery and museum. And some of the wonderful paintings you'll see on the wall here as we go up the stairs. They're on both sides of this lovely staircase, on both sides of the actual building. We're internal into it. And something people of Bolton might not expect to know of, even though they've lived here all their lives. It's absolutely fabulous. And we'll come up here and we enter straight away into the little shop, which is no harm. Everyone has to have a little shop to survive. Here it is. Lovely little gifts and things all on sale in the shop. Absolutely fabulous. Well, we're up here on the first floor of the Council Library and Museum exhibition space. And did you know that there's only about 17 recognised significant collections of Egyptian artefacts in the UK? And Bolton Museum has over 12,000 of them. Now, that is more than the National Museum of Scotland, the Museum in Durham, Swansea and Liverpool universities, the Hunterian and Kelvin's Grove Museums, Glasgow, Leicestershire, Leeds, Birmingham, Brighton. And in fact, only the British Museum in London and the Ashmolean Museum in Oxford have considerably more artefacts than the Bolton, Manchester and Cambridge museums. And in fact, Manchester and Cambridge only have about 16,000 anyway. Now, it's a wonder to see all these wonderful exhibits. Just look at all the old artefacts going back all those thousands of years to ancient Egypt. And they're all very well laid out, all very well described. And in fact, there's the mummy. That could be some person that's, they might be just hiding from work and decide to have a lie down in the mummy's bed. And here we see some rather very, very old ones, typically that you see in these films. You see Indiana Jones racing around with them. Well, here they are in real life. And you can see the murals on the back, in the background, the papyrus murals. Plenty to see. Some of the old games they used to play all those years ago. Many, many more artifacts. It's just a wonder to see, and you really must pop over to the Bolton Museum and head upstairs. Don't forget to, of course, have a look around the rest of the museum, which we'll be having a look at in a few moments. But as you can see, really a very, very comprehensive collection covering all sorts of aspects of social activity. And there's the entry to the Travelodge back in all those years BC. They've even got one of the former council leaders lying in state here. I suppose if this was a freezer, you could say it's probably Disney on Ice. And then we'll have a quick trip into the art gallery section here at Bolton Museum. As you can see, some well-known, or sorry, should I say some rather famous painters of the past with their portraits on the walls. Absolutely magnificent. And Harry Lucas, well known for after the war paintings. Superb. And then finally upstairs, we've got a little bit of Bolton's history. People don't realize the actual, how important Bolton was when it came to the old Industrial Revolution. And again, another wonderful, wonderful area here in the museum, and very typical, one of the typical mills that you see scattered around. Huge, enormous buildings. Some of them have been repurposed in the meantime. Some of the wonderful names like Heaton's, and just generally just absolutely fabulous. Just showing all the history of Bolton and some of the old famous firms that are here. Brilliant. Little bit of a neon exhibition going on upstairs. A little bit different, some neon creations. And then this is by the door to the Natural History Museum section. And remember folks, just to remind you, this is the Natural History Museum in Bolton, which if you're not expecting it, it's here. And here's a disgruntled resident. He got very upset about being charged the full rate of council tax, so they, as you can see, stuffed him and put him in a case. I think some of the benefit scroungers could do with that, to be quite honest. And then plenty of other exhibits here. great natural history exhibits. And then here we see somebody in here who's waiting to get attention to attend to their council tax, but unfortunately they've passed away while waiting for someone to come and see them. And in the distance you can see Nellie the elephant poking her head through the wall, and Osbert the ostrich here is getting rather upset with things, being stuck in a case all these years. Absolutely fabulous exhibits, very well worth coming and having a look at, and plenty of information. And then some of the joining in association things, and look, the Brussels sprouts. You can see on the left there, just above the, our left anyway, above the right pocket it would be, is Chief Scout's commendation for good service to scouting. I got one of those once upon a time. Fabulous. And all different little things from the past. Absolutely brilliant. Of course, couldn't resist a quick cup of tea and a cake. Had to have that in the wonderful library. But if you look at the library, and this is it here, you're not really going to expect to come into a library and see a great big twirling world that's just, it's, well, you can see from the size of the gentleman standing in front of me how big it is. It's absolutely enormous. Fabulous looking item. And of course, mustn't forget the library itself, which I know a lot of people don't know what a book is. It's a thing that you open and you read print, and it's not available to have a look at on TikTok. So get off TikTok and come into a library and do a bit of reading, get a bit of education for a change. But this is just absolutely fantastic. As I say, do come down to Bolton Library, really, and the museum. And once again, cheaper than Hollywood, there's a film crew setting up to do a TV series. Unfortunately, couldn't find the name of it, but nevertheless, all this equipment, and they're all getting ready. Mind you, in the sunshine, I'm not too sure why there's so many lights, but that's none of our concern. I've just been informed by a local parking attendant, or yellow peril as we call them, that the filming being done here in Bolton is for an Anne Rice novel. Not too sure which one. He did think it might be one of the vampire series novels, but the filming companies tend to use Bolton because, as many say, it's cheaper than Hollywood, or as they say it around here, Hollywood. Anywhere you go, I always recommend look up, and Bolton is no exception to that. Some fantastic architecture if you just look above eye level. The sadly now closed Marks and Spencer's. We may be the largest town in UK that's not a city, but we ain't got and aren't getting a Marks and Spencer's. They've left the town for good. There is a big one on the suburb outskirts, but that's no good to people who want to shop inside the centre of the town. You see what I mean here about more look-up architecture? Absolutely superb. Building after building, all with lovely architecture above eye level. There's ye old Swan and Barristers. I always think that's a rather ironic name, given the way that barristers on £600, £700, £800 an hour swan around. And over here we have very famous Tudor establishment called, let's have a look what it's called. It is Tasty King's Kebab. What better place than to have it in a nice old Tudor style house. We appear to have a clock tower that's right at least twice a day. As we wander up Churchgate, we come to one of Bolton's institutions, which we'll just see here in a moment. That is Booths, and you can see by the date why they're a bit of an institution. Established back in 1832. And I do pop in there myself for bits and pieces, and nothing is too much trouble for them. Meanwhile, if we now nip across the road from Booths, we come across to a very, very ancient hostelry. And that is Ye Old Man and Scythe, which I suppose really could sum me up. I'm an old man, but that's beside the point. As you can see, the dates on there are extremely ancient. 1251, 1651, and then rebuilt in 1636. But you're all right, because if you want to go in and have a drink, you can also get yourself a lovely Tudor fresh-baked pasty. At the bottom of the aptly named church gate is Bolton Parish Church. Fine building, lovely interiors. I'm not going to go in today, but one of the reasons a local historian told me that is that the Bolton Parish Church can't be deemed a cathedral is because it sits on a major right-of-way. Ironically, the A666, nothing to do with devil worship, but because the church hasn't got direct access to a main right-of-way, it can't be deemed a cathedral. I did decide to spoil myself. I went in here, there are no elephants, and it's not a castle, but what caught my eye was, just for a change, let someone else do the cooking. You can eat your heart out, folks. We've got another bank here that is still open, and to prove it, there we are. The doors are open. Wilko, another one that sadly bit the dust. Taken over by Poundland, but that didn't last long. But still, it's a little bit out of the commercial side of the town. It's okay though, I've been told not to worry because up to now, I really was worried. And a nice welcoming notice to the town just to alleviate any potential pedestrians or shoppers' fears. Not allowed, of course, things like alcohol on the street, intoxicating substances, antisocial behaviour, or begging. All not allowed. So this is a great relief to one and all. May not be allowed, but whether they keep to it is a different kettle of fish. Right, moving back up into the town centre. Go on, keep eating your hearts out. There's another 2 bank branches still open, although rumour has it that the Santander one may well be closing. I don't know, I don't bank with them, so I've no idea. I think I've got a fascination with banks, but while the shops are closing at an alarming rate of knots, we've still got plenty of banks in Bolton. We have our own phone alley in Bolton. Not too impressed with this Jeremy Corbyn cross with Gary Lineker, but I'll keep my mouth shut on that. But we've got the wonderful EE, or as in Yorkshire it's called E by Gum. And just coincidentally, just to give customers freedom of choice, slap bang next to EEBT is Vodafone. And then we've got 3.co.uk. One all next to the other, so you can choose which of the few remaining networks you wish to subscribe to. And go on, eat your heart out. Look, another bank that's still open at the moment, right beside Virgin Money, where we're back with Fred Dibner. Attached to the cinema complex, the Light, we have Market Place, which has been turned into a rather fancy shopping centre, but in the words of the wonderful YouTuber Charles Veach, filming inside is not allowed. And here's the side behind Marketplace Shopping Centre, where, as I just mentioned, unfortunately, filming and photography not allowed. It is lovely inside, in fairness to the town, and the perfunctory Primark is there, quite a nice large store if you want your disposable socks and underwear, jeans and t-shirts, all made at a fraction of retail price in far-flung eastern places. That, I'm afraid, is as near as I can get to showing you the Marketplace Shopping Centre. And just to prove I'm not being lazy, no photography or video recording within. Very upset with this establishment. They have lovely notes outside saying half-price frames. I wanted a 14 by 11 for a photograph of mine, but they just couldn't supply it. Well, there's somebody being quite honest. According to ASH, the campaign against smoking, it seems that smokers do exit. That is, exit this earth a little bit earlier than they would do otherwise. A little bit more look-up architecture. Absolutely incredible stuff. And what is it? It's a Slater's menswear, and one of the biggest in the north, believe it or not, overshadowed only by Manchester, a huge emporium, and other menswear facilities are available, says he who's not getting any sponsorship from Slater's anyway. Well, that was my quick whistle-stop tour of the town of Bolton. I hope you enjoyed what I showed you. As I say, the architecture is just absolutely remarkable. Very worth coming just to see that. And there you have it. Thank you very much for watching. Hope it didn't bore you to death, or that my commentary wasn't too amateur. I've still not got used to this videoing business yet. Bye for the moment.